Hello, everyone. Welcome to Blackbird Writers live on Substack TV. We come to you every Friday at 11 a.m. Central. My name is TK Sheffield, and I write stories for readers to laugh and escape. And with me are my co-hosts, Tracey S. Phillips and Valerie Beal. What we do here on Blackbird Writers on Substack TV is we talk about news from the Blackbird Writers flock. We talk about an industry topic, and then we share our favorite things and is it real or is it AI? So Tracey S. Phillips, take it away. What's going on? Tell me about yourself.
Hey, thanks so much, TK. And so I am Tracey S. Phillips, and I write about fierce women who face their shadow side. I have a detective series that I'm working on, still finishing, and also some paranormal suspense standalone books, and a new one is coming out the September 1st. I'm also the founder of Blackbird Writers, and we love to share each other's news and just kind of help each other navigate this crazy, ever-changing industry of publishing. So, and Valerie is an expert in all of that.
I got to tell you, that part of the publishing world makes me tired, right? Trying to keep up with everything. But that's part of what I do as a book marketer. The books that I write are for readers age 10 and up. And I always say they're often inspired by my travels. But yeah, the marketing thing is always changing, which I guess I joke with people that it's like my anti-dementia campaign. Like, I'll have to keep my brain working and maybe it'll help. I don't know. But so far, so good, I think.
That's sort of a writing in general, right? It's like an anti-dementia thing. It keeps your brain moving when you're writing and thinking and reading and revising and editing and all the rest of it. Thank you for joining us, Monica, Roxanne, and Sean. Nice to see you.
Hey, everybody.
As I said, today's topic is keeping series alive. But before we get into that, Tracey has news from the flock. So
I do. I have news from 3 or 4 members here. Nicholas Chiarkis is currently working on his third novel, The Black Tiger Tea, which is part of his Weepers series. And his second book was, I forget the name of it. Do you remember?
Nunzio's Way.
Nunzio's Way, right.
Nunzio's Way.
Yeah. And so I have, he says that he continues to write on his Substack on writing a novel your way. And I have a link to Nicholas's Substack right here. I have news from Anne Louise Bannon. She says that her big news is actually embargoed until the end of August. So in the meantime, she's slogging away at book 7 of her old Los Angeles series. But follow her Substack and learn what magic is up her sleeve. And when she is able to make an announcement, finally, hopefully the beginning of September.
She's put out recently on her social media, and so has her husband. They've finally broken ground. I think the foundations are being poured for the rebuild of their house, which they lost in the Altadena fire, which she does talk about a bit, but she shares that. So it'll be fun to follow along as they rebuild their house. I'm excited for them to get back into their neighborhood. So
yeah, I just spoke to her the other day, and it's just kind of switching from one nightmare to the next, going through all of the logistics of, getting all the permits and all of that. But now it's the building part,
yes,
which I know is another logistical nightmare sometimes. So hoping that it goes smoothly for her, because she deserves this to go smooth as silk.
Yeah, there's been, as you can imagine, so many trials. So yeah, it would just be nice for them to be back home.
John Didakis was a keynote speaker last weekend at the International Dublin Writers Festival. Well, that sounds like so much fun. He has a link to his upcoming events for the rest of 2026, and those are there. And he also has a new book coming out called Plot Twists. It is a memoir on writing and living. No word on when exactly that book will be released, but coming soon, he says. And I imagine you can find more about that at his website too.
Well, John, Speaking of, John, I took his class, Writing as a Way to Heal. And you can find him on LinkedIn and YouTube, John Didakis. And if you have any sort of grief or trouble or difficulty or trauma that you feel you need to talk about or write about, just for yourself even, just go check it out. Highly recommend. It's Writing as a Way to Heal. And I think everybody should watch his YouTube, at least watch that, So.
Yeah. I mean, at least find one to watch, because he's been interviewing people who've been through some horrific life events, and, and how they navigate that and come out the other side,
And he has
still positive and yeah.
His memoir will, I won't reveal it, but he's got his own trauma and grief he's overcome, and it's mesmerizing and inspiring. So
yeah, absolutely. The last bit of news is my own. I have an event this weekend at the Globe Coffee House in Neenah, Wisconsin. So if you're up north in the Green Bay or Appleton area, swing by Neenah. I will be there with Peggy Joke Williams, a historical fiction author, Melissa Westemeyer, who writes really funny cozies about a nun and a detective, and Cynthia Rice, who is also a thriller writer. So I'll be there with some new books and things, and with my fellow authors. And they also made a coffee drink just for us for that day. And it's also called The Plot Twist, like John's book. It's a vanilla and blackberry latte.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Yeah.
And Val, you've got some news?
I do. Today, a fellow Blackbird, Lori Stevens, is featured on my interview series, The Aside. And Lori is an LA native, and obviously she writes suspense, mystery thriller. And it was really fun to learn some neat things about her life. So we kind of talked about story, but we also went into some of the other quirky kind of questions and stuff. So I'll put that link in. It was a lot of fun to interview her.
And then you and I will be up at Untitled Town in Green Bay, the 25th and 27th?
25th through 27th of September. Yep.
And I'm teaching a class on writing log lines and short descriptions. And then what are you up to?
I am on a historical fiction panel with Mary Bean and Peggy Joke Williams, who will be with you this weekend, Tracy. I have 5 sessions. What are they? 2 are about for writing for kids. One is like a sci-fi fantasy reading where I will pick a scene from my Circle of 9 series, and I forget. There are 5 and history, 2 children's, sci-fi fantasy. Oh, it's building worlds. It's sci-fi fantasy worlds. So I don't know. It's going to be a busy weekend, but it'll be fun. And for anybody who's watching this, if you want to go just as a reader, as an attendee, the sessions are fun. The camaraderie is fun. The breakout, little cocktail hour stuff is fun. And it's not like you got to travel to a big conference out of state if you're here in Wisconsin. So.
Right. Exactly. And then I will be in Lake Geneva tomorrow for Lakeside Literary Festival at the Lake Geneva Public Library, put on by Lakeside Books. If you need books in the area of Lake Geneva, I highly recommend Lakeside Books. Alicia's fabulous, and she's working hard to promote authors and have book events there. So I'm looking forward to that. That's tomorrow, the 22nd. And then I will be in New Berlin for the Ale Fest and Books on the 12th of September. That just makes me laugh. At the Ale House. Selling books at the Ale House.
Sounds like a good combination.
Yes, come have a beer and get into trouble at the Ale House with me.
Awesome. Sounds fun.
Okay, so is that it? That's news from are we all up to date on news?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, cool. So we have had, we always want, the center of the show lasts about 30 minutes. The center, segment is about industry topics. And so some of the topics that we have discussed are book clubs, research rabbit holes, author newsletters. If you're looking to find answers and information about author newsletters, listen to the last 2 shows that we did. And we had two shows in a row on author newsletters discussing that. Writer's block, affordable conferences and festivals, Indie Bookstore Day, and how AI has affected the industry. And in fact, next week we're going to talk about how it's changed in the last month. So next week we're going to talk about how AI has affected the industry. But this time we are going to talk about book series. So a lot of us in the Blackbird Writers have series. I have the Backyard Model Mysteries, The Devil Wears Prada meets a Wisconsin Supper Club. Val, you have your series, and Tracy, you as well. So we're going to talk about that, how to keep them alive, when to know when to stop, and how readers can impact the series that they love and perhaps, see some plot twists or romances that they wish would happen. So who wants to start off with delivering value in your book series?
None of us do.
Not me. I'll wait later.
I can jump in. I mean, I think that it's the same thing for as we read. All of us read series, different kinds of series. And it's the type of things that keep you going. It is the intrigue between the characters. You absolutely have to have an interesting cast of characters because they're going to have to withstand the test of time and they have to change over the course of the series. So the tricky bits for writing, of course, are the series arc, right? For all the characters. And you have to keep each book satisfying. So you have to have the individual plot arc, of the book, right? Where you aren't, dragging people along and making them mad that the next book isn't out yet. So no cliffhangers, people, right? At least like satisfying for now, right? Stories. It's interesting too, though, the people who write really well keep enough stuff still intriguing, but somehow they still satisfy you at the end that chapter is closed. Laurie Buchanan does that really well. There's still, danger out there. There's still some things unresolved, which make you want to pick up the next book, but you're not mad because she, wraps it up at the end. So, I mean, those are the key things for writing them. And I think, you gotta like the characters if you're going to hang out with them for multiple books. When the pandemic hit, I decided to reread the entire J.D. Robb series. At the time, it was like 48 books. And I did. I reread them. I couldn't remember some things from the first books. And that's how it started. And I didn't mean to reread the whole thing. But that's a lot of books.
Yeah.
And each of those is like a police procedural with a closed case at the end. But there's always stuff happening with the characters. And that's Nora Roberts who writes this other series as J.D. Robb. Clearly, she's figured it out. I mean, maybe other people have read that and they're done with it. But I'm still intrigued enough.
If anyone has comments about your favorite series, what keeps you coming back, your advice about writing series, or something that turned you off and why you don't read a particular series, please feel free to add it in the comments and we'll hopefully, we'll read it here. A couple of things that I just want to mention is that keep your voice and tone similar. I write cozies, right? So in general, you can rest assured that you're going to get that in all of my books. So it's no foul language, any kind of sex is implied or off the page. I don't insert politics in my books. I just keep them entertaining and lighthearted fun. And in general, hopefully make you laugh with them. And that's consistent throughout. If I were ever to change that, I probably would, I don't know, I might have to write under a pen name or something. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But, voice and tone, I think is really important because if I'm not going to get that, I'm probably not going to continue reading. And then I see what I really like in some series is that you get a little deeper backstory as they move on. What one book in the series, for example, might focus on a minor character and you get to know that character a little better. So Tracy, any thoughts about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. You've got to keep the tone and the characters the same. Carrie, even a few things that happened in the last book, but somehow touch on the backstory without you don't need to do another deep dive or even begin with that. Just making sure that you're keeping that the story continuing on. I would tend to write short series. I have the 3-book romance series, which is done. They had their happily ever after. I'm done with that one. And for Detective Morgan Jewell, my thought is it's going to be another 3-book series. I have the 3rd book is all plotted out in my head, and I don't think she needs more than that. And I mean, the truth is, to me, when I think about a 48 book series, I get a little nauseous. I'm like, I don't even know what to do with that, you know? And no, and honestly, life is too short to read a lot of those long series for me. I mean, it takes me a week to read a book. And so 48 books is going to take me almost a year, you know?
Yes.
It's tough, you know, like for example, Midsummer Murders on PBS, or it was a British series, right? 20 seasons, I think it lasted. They did change main characters, but it was so beloved. You know, they could keep it going. One thing I do want to mention though is the character arc. You know, a lot of times, like in standalones, you're going to have some sort of, your main character will evolve in some way, right? Emotionally, they physically may not change at all, but emotionally, they're going to go from one point to another. In a series, you can expand that arc, right?
Mhm.
You can
Right.
expand that character arc in terms of how they change. You can also expand, you can weave a thread in a plot thread. For example,
Right.
in the Brooke Shields Acorn TV Mysteries You're Killing Me, in the first 2 episodes, they were just solving mysteries. You know, so there was a dead body and they solved it in the first 2, and they planted these seeds related to the secondary character's mother. So the last 2 in the 6 episodes, it moves forward into more of a thriller versus just standalone cozies. So they did that really well, and I appreciated the fact that they added an element that went all the way through the 6 episodes, which you can still do in a series too. It's you have to mastermind it a little bit, but you can do that in a series if you wish. If you know, for example, it's going to end after 6, oh, I put these Easter eggs up in that first book, and then you resolve them as you move on.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, no, I love TV series like that, like Criminal Minds, even though that's whatever, like 48 seasons. But you know, they're little bite-sized pieces that you can, you know, nibble away at. You don't have to watch it all at once. You know.
So I have a question for you. How do you stay connected to your audience between releases? You know, Netflix is having this problem. They're saying people are dropping off. They're not, you know, re-signing up to watch the next episodes or this next series. How do you stay connected to your readers?
Ooh, that's a good question. So if I'm taking on a new author as a client and I know they're going to be doing a series, I always ask them how many books they already have written. And the question then is, are you going to rapid release it? And rapid release can mean, you know, maybe it's just 6 weeks between the books. Which is insane, which means you have to have a lot of stuff ready, right? And depends on how long it's going to be. Or are you going to do, like, for instance, okay, yes, that the JD Robb series is incredibly long. She has 2 releases a year. She has a February release and a September release in that series. Now, granted, she's got an entire team of people to do stuff for her, right? Because it's Nora Roberts. But I think you set the expectations up. It's a January release, it's an April release or whatever. And so that if you're going to do one a year, everybody knows when it comes out. And you then, you know, we talked about newsletters, right? Last 2 times here. It's about communicating with your readers about, you know, just some backstory stuff and just little bits and pieces. Or, you know, we were talking to about ahead of time about, do you ask readers for feedback and bring them into the conversation because they're invested at that point. The series characters are like buddies at that point.
Right.
We hope. I mean, that's the goal.
Yeah. And you hope that they connect with those people, your characters, just the way you did when you were writing them.
Right.
You know, you want them to want more of that. And, you know, as far as I'm concerned, you know, my first book in my Best Kept series came out in 2019. The second book just came out this year, but that's because my journey through this industry has been kind of jagged and a lot of mountains to climb. So, I am not terribly worried that I don't have book 3 ready. I'm just glad I finally got book 2 out.
I did the same thing. Mine was really uneven. The first one came out and I didn't know it was going to be a series at first, right? So the first one came out and then, oh God, more than a decade ago. And then yeah, it's a whole thing, right? I mean, there's reasons why we don't do, and you got to try to revive the interest then and say, hey, I'm back. Look, I'm back.
Yeah.
Well,
And you hope that, people remember those books, right?
Yeah.
but you
And-
both did things that leads me to this question, refreshing covers, blurbs, and your metadata. You
Yes.
both did that, right?
Yeah.
It was a necessity for me.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you can keep your series alive by doing that. Now, has either one of you asked your readers what they would like to see in future books? That's a way to get readers involved. Have you done that?
No.
I
That's a great idea.
I should though. I should and see what they're hoping will happen. I have the last two of the what will be 6 books mapped out in my brain for the Circle of Nine series, and I have some twisty, devious things going on in my brain, which may or may not. I don't know. Please the reader. We'll find out. But
in this one, Model Suspect, she's solving mysteries as she goes, but she's torn between 2 love interests. And I feel like there needs to be a 4th just so she can solve that, because her narrative arc through the series was, the irony was she worked in a creative industry, but she had to emotionally withdraw because nobody wants to hear what models have to say. You're just the mannequin. So she's kind of evolved emotionally through the course of the series, but I feel like she needs that moment. She needs that moment to really come alive and commit to somebody. So
okay, so wait, what are their names? We need to be team who or team who?
Well, you can be team pilot or team sheriff.
Oh, that's right. The pilot or the sheriff. Oh, people are going to have opinions. People are going to have opinions.
And
that's another interesting question is when you have a love interest arc, at what point do you actually quit the slow burn or whatever and they're together? And, is that then how do you keep maintaining that level of, I don't know, not suspense, but romantic suspense,
Right.
if you actually let them, become a couple and they quit dancing around each other.
Diane Mott Davidson, in her Goldie Bear culinary mysteries was one of my very first, one of the very first mysteries to include recipes. She did that. She had 17 books, I think. And eventually Goldie fell in love with and married a sheriff. And she kept it alive really well. She was really superior writing. I really enjoyed her books. And she just stopped writing. She never finished them or had a, sign off on that one.
Well, who I think of too. So Jeff Nania, another Blackbird writer. So John Cabrelli in the first book, and are we up to, I think he's writing book 6 right now. So, we've had a romantic arc there, but he was a very broken person in the first book. And so there was healing that needed to take place before, the romance could move forward. So, there's all that backstory too, that's so rich that you get to do that there might not be space for in a standalone. I don't know.
Right.
So
Tracy, do you have a favorite series and do you have one that you've stopped reading?
Well, so I would say probably my favorite series right now has to be Margaret Mitsushima's Timber Creek. Yeah. And I love the police procedure. I love the dogs. And, she brings a lot of animals in because the love interest, Cole Walker, well, they're married now, but spoiler alert.
Wait. No, I'm sorry.
But he's a veterinarian. So there's always like warm, fuzzy animals in the books. And I love that too. But it's always very suspenseful as well. And she draws in some pretty dark topics to, untangle with her characters. So I love that series. And there's a lot of series actually that I have stopped reading. And just because, they go on for 27 books or 48 books. And, and I get enough with, the first maybe 3. And then I get it, and after that.
You fickle fan, you.
I'm terrible. I'm terrible. But, there's too many books to read and life is short. And so that's my excuse.
I get it. That's true. And I'm switching to audiobooks a little bit because I can do it while I'm, housework or whatever. And it's just I can tune in and enjoy my stories. Hi, Janae. Nice to see you.
Speaking of stories, Janae's series
Yes.
are great. Yeah. So I
So
read
any
a lot of-
series favorite and reasons why you stop reading them?
I have read so many different series. I continue to read Janet Ivanovich's Stephanie Plum series. It makes me laugh like yours do, TK. I still love the JD Robb series, and we're in the 50s now. Yes, I will read those. But the other Blackbird writers, the old Los Angeles series by Anne Louise Bannon, I really enjoy.
Yep,
I mean,
hers are good.
for different reasons, right? Because these are
Right.
all very different books. But I have to tell you, I got so ticked off at Patricia Cornwell. And I mean, when she killed off what's his name as the love interest, and now I don't even remember because it was so many years ago, I was like, nope, I'm done. And I've never read another book of hers.
Yeah.
So
It can
I
happen.
mean, like, whatever. So that made me mad. And I don't even know that he was really dead. I think it was sort of like one of those soap opera things where like then he came back. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah.
How about you?
Well,
TJ?
what about me? I have one. I love them all. Okay, all the Blackbird series. Love them. I used to read Joanne Fluke. Again, she was another culinary cozy author. But so I felt bad for her hometown of Lake Eden, Minnesota, because people kept dropping like flies. And it had to be the murder capital of the world eventually. And, it's like Cabot Cove with Jessica Fletcher, right? They eventually had to move her out on a book publishing tour and encounter dead bodies in London and elsewhere because they couldn't keep killing off Cabot Cove because there'd be nobody left. So eventually,
that is a problem.
Eventually you got to go, okay, this just isn't real anymore. So. Okay, so that's book series. And like I said, next week we are talking about AI and its impact on the industries. We've had some people email us some interesting comments, and we want to respond to our listeners. So we're going to circle back and talk a little bit about AI and how it's affecting the industry next week. So thank you very much. Janae says, Val, I had the same reaction. So we are on to... Is it real or is it AI? And Tracy, I hear you have something for us.
I finally have something. So I'm going to share this photo and I want to ask you all, is it real or is it AI?
So I'm going to describe the photo. This is Tracy. She's holding up a picture of Tracy in front of a lake and she's got her arms up and behind her, like almost right directly over her head is a rainbow. So if you can't see it, that's what we're looking at.
And there's actually a second rainbow, but it's really kind of it just is not showing up on camera.
Double.
Okay.
So there's you by a lake with a double rainbow. Real
yes.
or AI?
Is it real or is it AI? Votes? And you guys know because we talked about this earlier. So
and we were there actually.
Yeah. So the truth is this is both real and AI. So the photo is real, obviously. There I am in front of the lake, and there really were two rainbows. This is the unenhanced photo, and you can kind of see that bright, line above my head over here. There's a little bit more over here. And so it's a real photo, but then I enhanced it. And here's even a third photo where I enhanced the colors. And there you can see that rainbow a lot better there. And then the shadow of this second rainbow is over in here. It shows up better in person than it does on camera here. But the truth is, it almost looks like there's another rainbow on this side, doesn't it?
It kind of does. Yeah.
Yeah. But the truth is, so it's a real photo enhanced with Canva. I love using Canva for things. And so then how do you know if something hasn't been altered some way like that? Or you can use the background remover and I could put my body there in this pose and a completely different, in a city or in the mountains or something like that. So then I'm, altering what's real and what's.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
Tricky.
Right.
Yeah.
Tricky. So thank you for that. And we'll talk about that more next week, because now supposedly Canva, when you do the background remover, it's, I think it's labeled as AI on social media now, but again, you're just enhancing what's there. So that's kind of the trap you can get into, which is a whole rabbit hole that we'll talk about next week.
Right. And then do you have to report that if they ask you, did you use AI?
Right.
It's my photo. So
right. Exactly. It's you or you were there at that moment. The rainbows were real. You have 2 witnesses who saw it. What do you do?
Right.
Right.
I don't know.
So, hi, Margaret. We just were talking about you, how much we loved your series.
Yes.
So, thanks for joining. So,
Margaret's interview, by the way, Margaret's interview will be up on the Blackbird Writers next Monday. And we're talking about her new release, The Fighting Edge. So check out the interview, and that'll be everywhere, even on Authors on the Air podcasts. So you can find that interview all over the web next Monday.
Thank you very much. Sean has an excellent comment. Someone wiser than I said, assume all photos are altered between filters, AI, and Photoshop. Almost all photos are at least enhanced, if not outright lies. So, So, excellent point. So we're going on to our favorite things, and these are not lies. These are our favorite things for the week. Who's got what?
I forgot my favorite thing was sunscreen.
Oh no,
I'm a little pink today. Anyway.
Okay. Val or Tracy, you've got something?
I guess, I hadn't thought about it, but maybe this week my favorite thing is Atticus formatting software.
Ooh, yeah. Love that stuff.
I pre-published my book that's coming out September 1st, Safekeeping. And it felt so weird because I felt like I'd skipped that step of sending it off to the formatters and waiting for them to mess it up. And I was like, but I've done it already and it looks good. And here it is. Okay. And I just published it. So my favorite thing this week is Atticus.
Yeah, good stuff.
Good for you. I love vellum. I love vellum, and that's a whole other story. Okay. All right. So my favorite thing this week is I wrote a blog post for Blackbirds this week called So Similar, and I'm comparing the fashion world with the current author world and how they overlap. So I just want to say one of my favorite designers is Betsy Johnson. So I have this book club that I take when I go to book events, and it's just, everybody loves it and I love it. And it's, so it's one of my favorite things from Betsy. She always has something new, and oftentimes related to books, a purse or something fun. This necklace, Betsy. So you can see my fall necklace. And again, they're affordable. You got the little ghost.
Wait. Wow.
Isn't that great?
I love it.
And then another favorite thing are these earrings that I picked up that are going to a favorite someone on the show whose address I asked for earlier. They're little skeleton.
Those are awesome. I love it.
Oh, good. I'm glad you do, because as a thank you for being the founder of Blackbirds, these are coming your way.
I love it.
You will if you wear those at like BoucherCon or something, you will get stopped everywhere.
I'm just going to wear them to the grocery store.
Wear them through TSA.
Exactly. So Betsy Johnson, if you ever listen to the show, I love your stuff. So that concludes this episode of Blackbird Writers live on Substack TV. Tune in every Friday at 11 a.m. Central, where we talk to you about news from the flock, industry topics and updates, and our favorite things, and is it real or is it AI? So we wish you a wonderful weekend. Please enjoy these last days of official summer, and hopefully we will see you next week at Friday at 11 a.m. Please follow us on our socials here on Substack, and have a wonderful day. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks, everyone.